Hello and welcome to today's webinar focused on the completely online curriculum solution for your RN to BSN program. My name is Jennifer Stiles and I'm the Senior Marketing Manager for Nursing here at Jones & Bartlett Learning, and I'm joined by Patty Spur, Associate Dean in Nursing, Associate Dean and Chair of Nursing at Spalding University. Patty's going to be giving us a great presentation today focused on how she took her program online and talk a little bit about how she's using the courseware. But before we get started, I have just a few quick notes, and I wanted to talk just a little bit about this curriculum solution. All of the participant lines have been placed on mute, and if you wish to ask a question, you can do so by using the chat feature within WebEx. That's located in the tray that's usually at the top of your screen, and you can message Charlotte Sweet or myself directly. And what we'll be doing is we'll be taking these questions and we'll save them for the end until after the formal part of the presentation, and then we'll answer them. We'll also open up the lines live at the end if we have some time after the presentation and the demo. So if you have any questions that come along, feel free to ask us throughout the presentation, or you can save them till the end. And we're also recording this session, so if you'd wish to go back and watch it again or share it with a colleague, you can do so as well. Next slide, Patty. So we at Jones & Bartlett Learning understand that it's truly a critical time in healthcare and that there have been different mandates and policies that have been affecting nursing education. So we've created a robust RN to BSN online curriculum solution that we believe address many of these pain points. And, you know, for instance, we understand that the IOM and the AACN have called for a more highly educated nursing workforce. And, you know, one of the market drivers in this has been the Affordable Care Act that's put 32 million more Americans into our healthcare system, calling on nurses who are typically that first line of defense to have more education, to have more skills, and to have more knowledge. We also know that by 2020, the Institute of Medicine strongly recommends that 80% of all nurses have that BSN degree, and that to, you know, achieve and maintain magnet status, these hospitals must meet this criteria of excellence. We also know that in terms of the job search and obtaining a job, that having a bachelor's degree has become very important for those who are in the field of nursing. Next slide, Patty. The value proposition around these courses is that they are truly a foundational course. They are meant to assist you, the instructor, with either getting your RN to BSN program at your school up and running, or to enhance an existing program that you might have by using some of the courses that we offer, or by using you know, all of the courses. It's truly a complete out-of-the-box solution and can be customized in many different ways. And I think you'll see that when Patty tells you her story and how she's using these courses, she's truly made them her own. You know, many of the facets of the course, such as the syllabus and many of the aspects in the lesson, can be completely customized. So it's an opportunity for you to make this your own, using these courses as a strong foundation. We also understand that many schools are mandated to use just one learning management system, and for this reason, we've created Blackboard cartridges that are standard for every course. However, we also have the flexibility to build out other course cartridges for alternative learning management systems as needed, and that's a conversation that you could have with your account specialist, depending on what learning management system you might be using at your school. Let's just take a quick look at the curriculum. In total, this curriculum is comprised of 12 core instructionally designed online courses. And it's important to know that we've really taken great pains to make sure that these courses have been designed for the online learner. It's not like we just took you know, our textbook content and, you know, put it in a web format. These courses have been designed by experts on both the instructional design front and also, you know, folks who are strong with nursing content. Each of these courses is also carefully mapped to the essentials that are important to nursing content. And Patty, I'm just going to ask that you go back one slide there. Oh, that's okay. They're mapped to the AACN essentials, the IOM core competencies, and also the QSIN competencies, all of which meet the CCNE requirements. In terms of the length of time and how these might fit into a program or a semester, is that they've been designed for a typical 15-week course. However, we have worked with schools. Our custom team has worked to make any of these courses work if you have a 10-week semester, if you have a 12-week semester. So again, it's a completely customizable solution. And another important point to add here is that these courses are truly the foundation, and they're meant to be a value add and to enhance your course or to help you get started with a program. But it's by no means meant to replace the decades of knowledge or all of the clinical expertise that you as a nursing instructor can impart, personally to your students. So some of the features of these courses, in case you're not familiar with them, and Patty, we're going to just move to the next slide, is that they offer a wealth of content and instructor resources. We have a completely built-out instructor resource guide, which lesson by lesson walks an instructor through some of the rubrics as well as what content can be customized per lesson. Each one of the courses also draws from Jones and Bartlett Learning key textbooks. We've been known for our content for many decades, and another basis of these courses is that they're built on core content. They've also been built so that they're mobile and tablet compatible, because we know students want to have access to their course content. We know that many of them are working full-time, whether they be a traditional student or whether they be that non-traditional student. The courses also the lessons fulfill 9 to 12 seat hours, and each course is 3 credit hours, so we've done that mapping there. And they're also available to be bought individually or as part of a complete curriculum. So there's a lot of flexibility if you're looking to try out one of these courses. The next slide. This slide just shows the complete list of courses we have already, ranging from nursing informatics to the health assessment for the experienced nurse. And Patty's going to touch on some of the courses that she's using. And we also have a complete community site that can be found at www.jblnursing.com. And we'll show you that URL at the very end as well. If you want to visit that community site, it gives you a complete description of the course and what it covers. And in terms of market response, we've received overwhelming market response to these courses from the time that they were launched. I know we attend many industry conferences and have many nursing faculty approach us at our booth, and as soon as they find out that we've taken the content that we have, we've combined an interactive lecture, we've put it in a learning management system, we've added discussion questions, they're really blown away by how robust this is. We've also had different instructors who really take this, like Patty has, and they run with it. They tailor it to fit their program, and they really find it a value add. And, there are many features that instructors tell us all the time that they really love, the interactive lectures as well as stop and think questions, too. So at this point, I'm going to turn the presentation over to Patty Spur. She's the Associate Dean and Chair of the School of Nursing at Spalding University in Louisville, Kentucky. So Patty, take it away.
Great, thanks. I'm really thrilled to be here today to share with you a little bit about what process and what we have done here at Spalding. We are a small liberal arts college located in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. We are the oldest baccalaureate program in the state of Kentucky, which we're very proud of. We've been educating RNs since 1968. First, they were blended in with the traditional students, and then we moved to, in 1981, to more of a weekend college format. One thing that's very unique, in 2003, we moved from a semester to a 6-week session, and each 6 weeks is equivalent to 1 semester. And the reason why I share this is because, as Jennifer was talking earlier, the courses are set up for a semester, but they're very easily modified, whether it be for our 6-week sessions or if you're on quarters, or whatever length your particular term happens to be. But in 2013, when, in response to a great deal of effort by the rest of the community, we realized that we were going to have to do something. Our program nationally with the Magnet and the IOM reports here in Louisville, many of the ADN graduates are no longer being able to get positions unless they can show that they are enrolled and accepted in a baccalaureate program. around our community, all of our BSN, RN to BSN programs had gone online. We were the only ones that were still requiring students to come on campus. One of the really difficult parts has always been is what is a good time for an RN to come to class. If you do the evenings, that precludes anybody that's working either evening shift or 7P to 7A, gets rid of that. Then if we have used Saturdays also causes a dilemma for the fact of, are they on every other week rotations or every third? That causes an even greater difficulty in trying to schedule. And so we realized that in order to be able to stay current with the rest of the programs, not only in our area, but close enough that students could use, we needed to move online, and we needed to do so fast. One of the things is recently we had a lot of our students that had always come here went to one of the schools that was in the northern part of the state, strictly because that it was online. In order for us to be able to stay viable, the online had to be moved to, and quickly. One of the things that I have come to realize is that it's not a matter of if we want to embrace online education, it's a matter of when, because that's where the consumer is and where the customers are wanting us to go. Some of the difficulties or the barriers to change here was that many of our faculty had never taken an online course or designed one. And it's just not a matter of plopping up a PowerPoint onto a Moodle site, which is what we utilize, but is a whole different learning, teaching strategies. Many of the faculty didn't believe that we should go totally online, or they would say, oh yeah, online is good, but not for my course. So we had some people not necessarily or semi-buying into it. We had a current hybrid class, but as I looked at it, the rigor and the quality was not where I wanted it to be. And our current Moodle hybrid courses were downright plain and ugly, and primarily because we weren't instructional designers. We don't really know how to make them pretty. So this is kind of a sample of what a typical Spalding Moodle site looked like. Very dull, very boring. Just says week 2, what are they going to discuss, and then on through. So I thought, we're not really very appealing. And a great deal, I think nowadays, regardless of your age, is people want things to be attractive and to be catch your attention and keep your attention. So the first thing was that what did I know about online education? Really, I had not had any classes online, didn't know what they looked like, so it's kind of like, how can I build something I've never even seen? I ended up purchasing a couple books about online education. I did a literature search, and interestingly, if you just go on Google and I put in online education, it yielded 11.2 million sites. My library search yielded over 800,000 sources, which needless to say was a little bit overwhelming, and so I thought, how can I scale this down so that it's manageable and easy to start with. We also had several individuals in the library that were available for consulting. We have a learning specialist. Our learning specialist has been at the university for several years now, but he had come from Louisiana, where partnering with publishing companies was really more the norm, and he had already started the business school here at Spalding to begin using online programming from other publishers. So it wasn't a brand new thing here at the university. The other thing is the university offered faculty $250 to convert a course from a live course to online, which probably gives them about an hourly pay rate of about $0.05 an hour, because if you've ever put anything online, even dull, it is a very, very time-consuming, and double-checking to make sure your links work, that you're consistently calling everything the same. A great deal of attention to detail is needed. So my reality was the faculty were not jumping on board, that $250 was not singing any songs. there was overall by the faculty perceived a lack of or limited support from the university. And as I shared, my learning curve was very steep, and I knew I needed within the next year to have moved these courses. So, miracle of miracles, one day I got an email from Jones & Bartlett. And as I read it, I thought, whoa, this sounds like just exactly what I've been looking for to get me started. So I went on to the demo site, and when you go on and you put in nursing demo and you go to the sandbox, it'll give you a list of all the different courses. And so you can just click on one. It'll come up, it'll show you all the different layouts, benefits, instructor benefits, student benefits. First thing I did was look at what courses that were currently in our curriculum, and those courses that were available through Jones & Bartlett Learning. Pretty consistently, they lined up. The one exception is we have kind of a Capstone experience, which didn't necessarily have a Jones & Bartlett course immediately, though several of them could be modified for use here. But we pretty much were easy to line up those courses, so that was a real plus, matching our curriculum. This is just a sample of what one of the Jones & Bartlett courses would look like. See how attractive it is? And they do identify books that they have available that are mapped to these courses. Though you do not have to purchase the books, you can purchase singularly just the access to the course. Each of the modules all look the same. They start out with a welcome, which gives you the learning objectives. Then it tells you what you're going to study. So it'll give an interactive lecture. An interactive meaning that as you move through the slides, it will give you options of kind of self-checking where you're at. Then there's an opportunity for review and practice, where there's several practice activities available. Then assess and evaluate, meaning are you going to have discussion questions, or are you going to have an assignment? And then resources, which predominantly give you other web links on that particular course topic. So everything follows the same pattern, very easy to follow because students would know what to expect. The assignments, Jennifer had mentioned that when you go on to the demo site, you can download the workbook, the faculty workbook, that will share with you what is planned in the course. So it'll give you the discussion questions, so you can sit down and kind of map out what you want to use, what you don't want to use, before you even start trying to modify the course. The interactive lecture, down at the bottom, it'll give you links back to the menu. Obviously, there's the print button. This little A book is a glossary if you want to use closed caption. And then there's the opportunity for students to be able to take notes right within this lecture part. You will notice over here that there's 31 slides in this particular pack related to this content, and it will talk to you. So the students, it also is very good for ADA compliance with universal design and so forth. So I thought, well, this is something we need to look into. So I'd spoken to the dean, and we ended up scheduling a webinar with Jones & Bartlett. It was myself, the dean of the college, the prior director of the RN to BSN program, our Your Learning specialist, our undergraduate program director, as well as IT from here. And then from Jones & Bartlett, it was Mariel, who is our sales rep, who cannot be more fantastic. If you want customer service, Mariel is it. I never call, but she doesn't get right back with me, sends me what I need. She's fantastic. And Mary Colleen from the technological piece from Jones & Bartlett. And they walked us through, showed us the different courses and how we could adapt it. So then when we finished with that, I thought, well, you know, I don't want to just pick the very first company that I've learned about. So I got online and began to investigate other companies. Could not find that there were any other publishers that had the package like Jones & Bartlett had. Courses already prepared, other ones would say, well, we can customize things for you, but it wasn't going to be, remember, I was trying to get started quickly, and so I wasn't looking for a long timeline as far as developing. So as I sat down to talk to the faculty and to determine really what were the pros and cons of joining or purchasing or utilizing the Jones & Bartlett, the first one was the courses were developed in Moodle, which we have here at the university. You can either, they will develop what's called a cartridge, and they will send that to your IT department. You can put it straight in to your server, or you can utilize the course on Jones & Bartlett's server. We have chosen to utilize the course on Jones & Bartlett's server because the way the university works, as soon as you register for a course, you automatically have access to the Moodle site. So with that being said, every student enrolled would have access if they purchase the access or not. So we were not willing to pick up that cost, so we decided to host the course on Jones & Bartlett. There are multiple reporting features, very similar to probably what you're used to in either Blackboard or Moodle. You can quickly see how much time students are spending in the course. Very easy as far as determining grading, a great screen for grading. The other nice thing is that Jones & Bartlett will offer onboarding instructions for faculty members, so they will conduct those so that faculty are familiar with how to move through the course. Typically, the course will not change for a year, but then again, Jones & Bartlett is constantly looking and updating courses, and they can push updates as content is available. This was one of the things that our learning specialist really emphasized. He believes this is where things are going in the future, that we will utilize publisher websites versus building our own because the publisher is staying up to date. That is how they remain in business. The courses were all very cleanly designed and with repeatable pattern of instruction. So it was easy to follow. The students now have to learn something new or see what's going on. The majority of the courses do have 15 lessons. Again, you can pick and choose which of those lessons you want to include in your course. The other thing was that the courses drew content from the Jones & Bartlett textbooks. If you decide to adopt the textbook, though not required, the textbook is purchased at a 50% reduction, and that's a hardback book, not necessarily the e-version of the book. And custom textbooks are available. The courses are built to be used on all different kinds of devices, which Jennifer talked about earlier, desktops, tablets, smartphones. And as you know, our students want to be able to be sitting in the parking lot waiting for their kids at soccer practice and to be able to access their course, to be able to use it wherever they can have the opportunity and the time. And the cost per access is $99.95 per student. So what we have done with that is we have made it available. The bookstore, students can purchase it through the bookstore, but then again, there may be a little bit of a markup, or the students can purchase it straight through the Jones & Bartlett website, and we give the students that option. Some students need to use our our bookstore because of financial aid purposes. And the other nice thing is all of the links are cloud-based, so we're not really concerned about servers going down and so forth. Some of the cons: would the cartridge work with our version of Moodle? It was perfect. They sent us a cartridge. Our IT department plopped it in, as they said, and we were able to integrate it with our own Moodle site. So again, we chose not to end up doing it that way. The next question is, who would pay the $100 or the $99 charge? What we decided was that we were going to use that just like a book charge, and so we were going to require that of the student and to put it through the bookstore, or again, they could purchase online. The other question was, would the students object to a $99 charge? We are a private institution, so our tuition is a little bit more, so I try to be very cost conscious related to that. So far, I've had no concerns or no complaints from students about accessing the site and the cost. Our administrative assistant here in the nursing school is taking courses here at Spalding through business, and he told me that all of his courses have been offered this way, and it's just kind of seen as standard practice. And they were able to initiate an ISBN number so that we could use it through the bookstore for the students to be able to purchase and access. And then the other question was, were we forced to use Jones and Bartlett textbooks? Because, you know, different faculty have their own preferences, and you're not. You can customize the site. We even had a faculty member, let's say the Jones and Bartlett research course was mapped to Book A, Research Book A by Jones and Bartlett. Well, our faculty member used Book B. They went and realigned it so that we would see how the courses, how the units would all fit with the second textbook. So that also helped. So what did we decide? We felt like the cartridge was a real plus. The whole issue of who was going to pay for the charge kind of has turned out to be kind of neutral. We haven't had any negatives. People haven't said, yay, I'm paying $100 either. So we've tried to be very careful. The other thing is that were we being forced to use the textbooks? No. Primarily for most of our the courses that I have done so far, I have not utilized textbooks at all, but have utilized journals, links to articles, and have tried to avoid the textbook. The issue being that I did not think about ahead of time was that when the students realized they were going to be purchasing a book, because it's bundled and the website and the book are put together and it's less expensive, students had gone ahead and gone online through various other sources and purchased the book. So they had bought the book, and then they still had to buy the $99 to access the course, and that caused a little bit of risk because they then they thought that buying the book would be enough, and it wasn't. So I would really encourage you to strongly identify in your syllabi that you want to do them both together through the bookstore or through Jones and Bartlett. One of the other concerns is, was this really kind of cheating? You know, if I don't design the course, does that mean that it's not really mine or it's not a Spalding course? Were we transferring our responsibility or our level of development to an outside company? Was this really kind of cookbook teaching? You know, was this same, because this course may be offered or purchased by several different schools, would again be like not specific to us? And did it make it less of a Spalding course if we didn't design it? So what I did was I looked at all the local colleges in the area that tended to be our big competitions for RN to BSN courses. Not that I want you necessarily to be able to read these titles, and that's why I put the colors in. But if you look at the colors, you'll see that pretty consistently we all teach the same thing. I mean, just about everybody has some type of health assessment. Everybody has some kind of a role leadership course. Everybody has some type of research. Somebody has some kind of community health. So in essence, we're pretty much all teaching the same type of content either. And really, if you look at a lot of states, or a number of states have gone to a integrated or a standardized, I should say, curriculum, where all schools in the state teach all of the same courses. So I really didn't see this as a negative, but rather affirming what our content that we had identified for RN to BSN was consistent with the rest of the country. So here we are. This is what one of our courses has looked like. As you can see, this top banner here has been personalized, and it says Spalding University and my course number. They also will change this banner bar in order to name it the course that's specific to your institution. The instructor resource manual could not be any more helpful. It gives you the objectives, it gives you an overall lesson, highlights, discussions, assignments, and the resources. And I've taken this layout and actually put it straight into my syllabus to, again, match the students when they get on the website so it's all consistent. Here's just a sample of what a case study would look like. It gives, obviously, the lead-in and then the discussion questions, and those are all available for you to preview since we've launched. And I want to take a second real quickly here to pull up. This is what our live course looks like. As you can see, it says the Nursing Informatics, which I was just showing you. Down the side is probably very similar to what you're used to with assignments, forums, resources. Again, you can turn the editing on as a faculty member to be able to identify and remove. Okay. Of course, I've timed out. I should have thought about that. Here will be the list of all my courses. So I'm going to turn the editing on. And so as I go through, you'll have the same types of things that you're probably very familiar with as far as adding resources. What are the options that you have? You'll also see down this section of the page is there's a little eye. You can either, if you click on that, you can make that portion visible, or you can decide to hide that section to the viewers, to the students. One of the things that I did this time, which is I moved all of those that were being hidden from the students down to the bottom of the page. So just as in anything else, here it is. It'll pop up here, edit, summary. You can, again, your glossary, you can edit what you want to turn on and off. Here's my lesson. Lesson number 1, as you can see, there's the interactive lecture that's been prepared by Jones and Bartlett, or here are the different readings that I have connected and linked right there. Then the activities, practice activities, and then the assignment. And then that continues through each of the other courses. So I'll turn this off so you can see exactly what the student would see. You can again switch your role so that you can see what the student will see. That kind of gives you an idea of what the different courses look like. Again, your settings, assign your roles, grades. This will give you an idea of the different grades that I put in. I put in items that were not necessarily connected to one of the assignments. This was a graduate class, and I made everybody join the graduate student group through AACN. I included attendance. So those could all be added in and were not restricted to only those assignments that were available through Jones and Bartlett. So since our launch, we have now launched 3 different courses. I've done the informatics for the MSN for the graduate program using that same content. We have one course that carries over between the RN to BSN versus the MSN program. We've also have used health promotion. Our plans are to use community, leadership, research, and move on through until this entire year we're able to get all of the courses moved from on live courses to totally online. So far we haven't had any complaints from students, and if your students are like ours, they're usually pretty quick to let you know if there's something bothering them. But I have looked at the course evaluations for the 2 courses that have been offered this way and without any difficulty. And then, again, we've been using the Jones and Bartlett Learning website instead of migrating to our own server. And so those are primarily where we're at. So I'll turn it back over, I think, to this point. To Jennifer.
Great. Patty, thank you so much for taking the time to tell our audience, how you moved your program online and a little bit about how you're using these courses and about some of the customization features. That's great. We haven't gotten too many questions so far. I do encourage you to use the chat feature and to message either myself or Charlotte directly. Let us know if you have any questions about anything that you've seen today. Before we move on, I do just want to chat briefly about the pricing. We haven't mentioned that yet, and I'm sure if you're unfamiliar with the courses, or maybe if you are, you might be asking what the pricing is, what the model is. So 2 things. The curriculum, which is comprised of the 12 courses, the price is $1,200 per student, so that breaks down to $100 per course. That does not include the textbooks. However, when the course is bundled with the text, it's 50% off of the required textbook. That is, if you, the instructor, will require any of the recommended texts that are listed for the course. Individually, the course is $99, or basically $100 per course per student. And again, if bundled with the textbook, that printed textbook, the hard cover, not the ebook, is 50% off of the required text. And like Patty mentioned as well, we also have a custom textbook program, so that's something that you could work with your account specialist on to design your own type of textbook if you'd like. You might have already have experience working with us or other publishers to do that as well. We do have a couple of questions coming in that I do just want to address before we move on. And Patty, this is a question for you. One of our faculty members wants you to review again why your school chose to keep the courses on the Jones and Bartlett Learning server instead of loading the cartridge into Moodle.
Sure. One of the things that our baccalaureate director had said to me is, I've never known that our Moodle site would go down, but one of the things that she suggested was that if there's questions accessing or questions with the administration or the ongoing working of the course, it would keep those calls out of our system, meaning that the students would probably get better service calling Jones and Bartlett because they would be far more able and capable of maintaining their site, and rather than here, we're still a fairly small university and do not have a ton of online experience. That was the other reason why this program with Jones and Bartlett was so helpful, because I didn't really have a lot of people here that had done courses that could really guide me along. So that's why we decided to put it on the Jones and Bartlett. The other reason being is that unless we as a school wanted to pay the $100 per student, once a student enrolled in the course, according to Spalding policy, they automatically get access to the Moodle site. So now I also should say we do not have the ability to add fees. Our provost does not like fees since we're a private institution. So another way to do it would be to add a fee to the course of the $100, and then you could put it into your own learning system. I just don't have that ability to do that here, but that would certainly be a workable option to move the cartridge into your system and then add a fee that would then not cause your school or college to have to purchase that $100. Hope that answers your question.
Great. Thanks, Patty. Maybe we could just move to the next slide. And at this time, I'm also going to ask Erica, the operator, if she could come on. And we do have some time to take some additional questions. And Erica, if you want to just instruct our participants how they can do that, that would be great.
If you would like to participate in the interactive question and answer session, please press star then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. You will hear a tone acknowledging your request and a prompt to record your name. We'll pause for just a moment to compile the Q&A roster.
Great. Thank you, Erica. I just wanted to call your attention to a few different resources that we have. You're more than welcome, and we definitely invite and encourage you to try any of the courses that you've seen and heard about today in our virtual, what we call our sandbox. And you can access that by going to go.jblearning.com/sandbox. And if you enter the username and password, it's simply nursing demo. That will actually bring up the list of RN to BSN courses, and you will see one lesson that's live and in the same environment that Patty showed you her course in. And you can feel free to go in there to make some adjustments, to turn on the editing, to get the full feel for what it's like to actually use this course and maneuver through it. You can also request a demo. That request will go directly to a sales rep who will follow up and contact you to schedule a personalized one-on-one demo. And we actually have an RN to BSN media kit that's located on our community site. So if you want to download that electronically, you can do that. It gives more information on each of the courses as well as some descriptions. We do have a couple of other questions that have come through via the chat. Let me take a couple more of these. Another faculty member asks Patty, in a 6-week course, about how many of the course lessons would you usually use? And Patty, I'm not sure if you can answer that or not, if you have experience with the 6-week course.
Yes, because that's what we have right now.
Okay.
I do my classes a little bit differently for the fact that I usually don't have deadlines, which a lot of other people do. So I will assign probably about 10 different units, and I usually have 1 to 2, primarily try to keep it at 1, no more than 1 per unit, an assignment, whether it be a discussion board or an assignment, one or the other per unit. So that's how I lay out my syllabus, is by units, and then for students to be able to move along at their own pace. I do have another person here that she did assign dates, and again just puts that in her syllabus as to what date things are due. When you get on the site, it's very similar to probably what you're used to. It'll tell you when you can turn on that, when you can start accepting submissions for that assignment, and then what's the last day that you'll accept submissions for that assignment. So it is very, either I'll open mine up for the whole 6-week period, so I'll let people kind of work at their own pace, but other people have put in required dates and not allow them to submit after that point.
Great. Thank you, Patty. We did have a couple of questions come in just regarding the pricing. So let's go back and just review that really briefly. A couple of questions surrounding how this figures into the university's fees. And, you know, really this is all dependent on how your school would want to charge the student for it. If you want to weave it into the fee, and if you, the instructor, know that you're going to purchase either one course or, say, 5 courses out of the complete curriculum, it might be $100 per student or $500 per student if you purchase 5 courses. We've seen schools that weave that into, roll it into the tuition fee, so it's not something that's handled separately. Most often what we do see is that it's an access code that's available in the bookstore, and per the syllabi, the instructor lets students know that they're to go in and purchase the textbook and the access code, and those are bundled together, and it's handled that way. So it all depends on, you know, how your school might handle rolling in an access code for the course, or, you know, if they want to handle it, you know, and roll it into the tuition, or if they want the student to pay out of pocket for that, you know, at the time when they would buy their textbooks from the store. A couple questions just from folks. They're wanting a link to the webinar for a later date. Yes, we will be posting this on our community site, as well as providing some access to the slides. Erica, do we have any questions live on the phone yet?
There are no questions at this time. And again, that is *1 if you would like to ask a question.
Okay, great. I'm just going to go back through the chat, so just give me a few seconds here. I just want to make sure we didn't miss anything. Patty, I think this question is for you. Jackie is asking, how do you select faculty to teach in online courses?
We have primarily our RN to BSN courses do not necessarily use our full-time faculty, but we have part-time instructors. And we do have the opportunity here out on campus for some general introduction to online education, but primarily it's by, I solicit people who are interested in doing it, and they know it's going to be online, and they're interested. I have not had any difficulty with that. Just maybe a little more coaching, mentoring people as they go through it to make sure they feel comfortable and with expectations. So I will say that demo or in the course manual is very, very helpful from Jones and Bartlett as far as you begin to kind of lay out the course and what you want to include or what you might want to modify.
Great. Thanks, Patty. We do have another few questions, and this is from LaRonda. She was asking if we, Jones and Bartlett, had plans to develop a capstone course. Currently, we don't offer this capstone course, and Patty, she's asking if you could speak to the capstone course that you use for your program.
Sure. It's kind of a culminating. Our goal is to have it as the very last class where we try to pull together all their different courses and they do one large project. We also use that as exploring current issues, the types of changes that are going on. Like right now, probably in the capstone, we'd probably put something in about Ebola and talk about how that's impacting the nursing profession, how it's impacting healthcare. So we try to leave that last capstone for the students to design a project as well as to really talk about what are the current hot topics within nursing.
Thanks, Patty. And can you tell us how many students that you take in each of your online courses? That would be helpful for faculty to understand.
Sure. Our courses, at this point, we tried. Now, the one I showed you had a lot of students in it, which I will never do again. I've spoken with the university and what's kind of ideal. At the most, our goal is never to take more than 20, probably keep it more at about 15. The one course, which was the first one I did, had about 30 students in it, and it about killed me. So that's one thing else to keep in mind as you think about what your assignments are, is that it is more time consuming because you're going into the discussion boards. The students will email you questions. There'll be more interaction. And so if you have a very large class, you feel like you're spending an awful lot of time emailing. What I've tried to do is if there's a question, then I will email the response out to everybody if I feel like it's appropriate to everybody, so that those people don't then turn around and ask me the exact same question. But at the most, about 15.
Thanks, Patty. We have another nursing faculty asking how you handle the practicum for 100% online students.
The way we do practicums here is that since they are already RNs, then they identify a place they would like to. If we already have a clinical agreement there, we'll contact the facility and set that up, or if they have a place that they would like to do a clinical and we do not have an agreement, then we will initiate one. But because since they're already RNs, they are really functioning on their own license. So we then coordinate with their preceptors, can go and visit if that's appropriate or possible, but our clinicals are all worked out in that direction.
Thanks again, Patty. And I'm going to ask Erica, do we have anyone who has dialed in to ask a question live yet?
Yes, we do. Your first question comes from the line of Sandy McNeely.
Okay, great. Thanks, Sandy.
Hi, this is Sandy. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, thank you. We just had a couple of questions from University of Houston Victoria School of Nursing in Texas. First of all, have the courses been vetted by the CCNE and approved? Secondly, how do you handle exams in terms of questions? Does JB Learning have exam items, or do faculty develop their own? And with that, how do you handle exam security? And then lastly, can faculty members add their own lecture material or lecture, items to the courses if there's something that they would like to add? Thank you.
Thanks, Sandy.
Sure.
Couple different questions there. So, and maybe Patty too can chime in, and also, Mary Colleen, but she's actually not on our presenter line. So I'll do my best to sort of field some of these questions. These courses have been aligned to the 3 essentials that we mentioned earlier. That would be the AACN, the IOM, and the CUSIN. Thank you, Patty. And they all of these, meet the CCNE requirements, but they have not been through that vetting process.
As far as offering quizzes within the course, there is the ability to be able to give quizzes. There is a test bank inside there. I don't use tests for RN to BSN. I utilize more assignments, with the exception of even with our health assessment course, the students will do, they'll film themselves doing assessments, but we don't really utilize tests in the RN to BSN. But there is the ability to do that. There is the ability to add your own questions, which is not a problem. You can also add videos. I mean, when you look at the layout of the course, anything that you could do on a Moodle or Blackboard page, you can do in here. So it's just kind of the shell and everything is already set up for you, and then you can kind of go from there. Does that answer them all?
Then you do have another question from the line of Carol Gabrielle.
Hello.
Go ahead, Carol.
Yes. Hi, it's Dr. Gabrielle calling from Anna Maria College in Paxton, Massachusetts. A couple of my questions were answered already while I was waiting, but I did want to know from Patricia, do you have program accreditation for the RN to BSN through CCNE or ACEN?
Yes, we do. We have CCNE, and we just were visited last year, and we have 10 years.
Okay, and so last year when you were visited, you had this RN to BSN curriculum in place through Jones and Bartlett Learning?
No, we did not.
Okay.
And we did not submit it as a significant change. See, to me, the online is a teaching strategy. It's not right. It did not change our curriculum. Our curriculum, as far as I could map it out between what their course content was and what we were already offering. So it was very consistent. So
so you had the RN to BSN previously,
yes,
then
we did.
Already accredited. Okay.
Right.
And then
right.
my last question is, could you tell me about what kind of support you get from Jones and Bartlett in terms of if you want to modify the course, or if there's an issue with a student being able to use the course, is there support there for you and for students?
Yes, I mean, my account rep is Muriel, and she is phenomenal. I will usually email her, about 5 to 6 weeks ahead of when I'm going to need a course. She'll go ahead and turn it on so that we're able to go ahead and start working on it and make the modifications. Mm-hmm. If there's any, let's say, for example, I decide to add another instructor is going to come on and view the class with me, I just send the email to Muriel. It's all done within the same day. Customer service-wise, I can't say enough wonderful things. The other thing is, as far as any technical, we have not had any technical problems, or none that I'm aware of. So the students would access Jones and Bartlett, and there's not been an issue.
Wow, that's really great. That's good news. Thank you.
Erica, I think we have time for one more question if there is one, and I know that we're getting to the top of the hour, and I just want to be respectful of everyone's time today.
There are no further questions on the phone line at this time.
Okay, great. Well, I'd like to extend a very big thank you to Patty for your time today and for fielding questions and for really giving us a detailed overview of your journey taking your program online, how you face those obstacles, and how you're using these courses today. So it was a real pleasure having you on the line today, and I want to thank everyone who joined us. And for further information, I do invite you to visit the resources that you see on this last slide, and we'll also be sending a follow-up email to those who joined us today, as well as those who couldn't make it, because this presentation will be recorded. And we hope to see you at another event, and you can find that listed on www.jblnursing.com. Thank you.
Thank you.
This concludes today's conference. You may now disconnect.
And Patty, if you just